Hello, I'm SquidofLove, welcome back. During the last week we had the opportunity to try all the fly-ready ships in Star Citizen, and the ship that got my attention was the Vanduul Glaive. From the first time I flew with it, I had to know how good it is in PvP. I really wanted to try in random encounters against other players and see what are its capabilities. So this is what we are gonna do today. I'm gonna show you some of the fights I had during this week against other players in the baby persistent universe and talk about the Vanduul Glaive capabilities and how good it is in PvP, in real PvP scenarios. And we are gonna start with this very interesting fight, which was in fact my first real fight against another player with the Vanduul Glaive. After some flirting, we decided to give it a go and start killing each other. As you can see, the Vanduul Glaive has 4 weapons, 2 size 1 laser cannons, which are not very powerful, and 2 size 4 plasma cannons, which are the main way to deal damage and destroy your opponents. The real problem with these plasma cannons is the fact that although they are very powerful and they can deal a lot of damage, they overheat very fast. So it will require some trigger discipline, it will require some patience in order to use them, something that obviously I didn't have in this fight. At that point, a second player decided to join the fight against me, and it is time for me to flee, or at least pretend that I'm fleeing, and see who's gonna take the bait and follow me. A very good tactic to use when you are fighting multiple enemies, especially if they are not coordinated, but even if they are together, someone will always be more trigger happy than the others. So we can now return back to our initial fight and see what we can do with the glaive. Unfortunately, for one more time, another player has decided to join the fight against me again, this time a Constellation Andromeda, so I tried to pull that same trick for one more time, but for the records I ended up crashing with the Constellation Andromeda and blowing up because of miscalculation. Too bad we couldn't finish that fight. If I had a better trigger discipline and I was more careful with the plasma cannons, I believe this fight would have ended faster and it would have been much better for me. But nonetheless, it was a very viable learning experience to learn how to play with the Vanduul Glaive and use it properly, as you're gonna also see in the next fights. In this one over here, I'm getting attacked immediately after getting out of Quantum Jab, and this is what happens. If you can time your hits properly and concentrate your firing on your targets, the damage from the plasma cannons is simply devastating and will destroy light fighters and other small vessels like that Avenger or that Vanduul Scythe. A big problem with fighting with the Vanduul Glaive is trying to avoid crashes, and this is something that both players, both parties that are involved in a fight have to do in order to not die in a crash, one player or the other. The damage of these two plasma cannons is simply amazing. Light fighters, like I said before, cannot survive for long if you are getting hit, but this is not enough when fighting other more capable fighters such as Super Hornets or Sabres. Against these enemies you will not only have to have trigger discipline and properly timing your shooting, but you will also need to adjust your speed, trying to approach your target from angles that he cannot attack you and deliver most damage possible as fast as possible. This is a very interesting fight against the Super Hornet. The pilot wasn't a very experienced Super Hornet pilot, but it is an interesting fight nonetheless, and it shows us the capabilities of the Vanduul Glaive at the moment. A very nice and intense fight. From all this fighting I've learned how to use properly the weapons of the glaive, and this is what I've been doing, is firing constantly with the laser cannons, the size 1 laser cannons, until I find the target, and then, only then, fire with the plasma cannons and deal the most damage possible. Although these plasma cannons, these size 4 plasma cannons, are the strongest advantage the glaive has at the moment, they can also be its biggest weakness, and this is because they are somewhat exposed, so it is very easy for your enemies or for splash damage from missiles to destroy them. They are so strong that if you lose one, you can continue fighting with the other one and still dealing damage, still having a chance to win. But if you lose both, then it's time to get out of there, it's game over for you. There's no reason to stay and fight with only your size 1 laser cannons. At the moment the glaive is a very interesting fighter that can destroy very easily light fighters and other small vessels, but also larger and not so agile enemies. And with some more love, it can become the perfect assassin in the persistent universe. Thank you very much for joining me watching this video. I'm SquidofLove and I will see you next time. Bye bye.